Hey there guys, DMO73 here, bringing you another spoiler article for the week. We are finding some new fairy tales. We are quickly coming up on seeing all the cards from Twilight Wanderer, so now we're getting some more kind of the archetype kind of stuff. So let's just jump right in. We have, first off, the September Hare. He's a 1-drop fairy tale, 100, 500. And for 1 blue, you can put a tea party counter on each Insomniac Dormouse, Sane Hatter, and September Hare you control. And you can rest September Hare, and if there are 2 or more tea party counters on this card, you can draw a card, and if you do, remove all tea party counters from this card. So it's kind of a draw engine. You know, he only has to have 2 in order to be able to draw a card. And with the ability, you know, the fact that he can stack his ability multiple times and put counters on himself, that's not terrible. Like if you have a ton of flooded blue will at the end of your turn, or at the end of your opponent's turn, you just spend it all using their abilities to flood your different creatures with a bunch of different counters, and then you can use their abilities, you know, and stuff like that to not really worry about the counters per se. Then we have the Insomniac Dormouse. A 2-drop, 400, 600 fairy tale, has the same ability. For a blue, you can put a counter on all 3 of those guys. And you can tap and rest target resonator with total cost less than or equal to the number of tea party counters on this card. And then it doesn't recover during its controller's next recovery phase. Then you can remove all the tea party counters from this card. So it's a mini little lock that you can use. You can just say that's going to be a threat next turn. I don't want you to use that next turn. Rest it, and then just lock down for that 1 turn, and then you can possibly kill it during your next turn. So it sets up some kind of manipulation plays there. I like it a lot. The stats aren't really are pretty good for a 2-drop. 600 defense is pretty solid. And 400 defense isn't bad, especially when you would think that most of the time this card is primarily going to be resting stuff rather than attacking. Then the Sane Hatter, 3-drop fairy tale, 600, 700. Same ability, blue, put tea party counters on all the different guys, and then you can tap and return target resonator with total cost equal to or less than the number of tea party counters on this card to its owner's hand, and then remove all tea party counters from this card. So again, it's like you flood your field with these guys. You have them on board. You spend the blue will as kind of a mana or a will sink to put a bunch of counters on them, and then you tap them down and bounce stuff, lock stuff, draw cards. So very kind of new thing for fairy tales. I think it'll be very helpful for Grim. Obviously, Grim's gonna see some play now, more so. And I don't know. I'll have to see. The fact that they lose all the tea party counters from this card every single time they use their ability is interesting to me, because I feel like then you'd have to have a lot of blue will up to be able to maintain the effect. But then I also think that you wouldn't be using their effect constantly. You would be kind of, waiting to see what happens. Then again, if you are able to have multiple of these guys out on the field every turn, you can kind of lock your opponent down. You just kind of purely use your will to like maybe play a creature or 2, and then just lock your opponent down. So like, I could see these being used in like almost a different variant of like Bloody Grim, like blue-red. Especially because of the card that I'm about to show you, but like blue-red Bloody Grim, because of that ability to just kind of like force your opponent to not be able to have stuff on the board. But again, we'll get into that here in just a second. And then we have the next fairy tale, the Little Match Girl. I really like the fact that we're seeing all these like new fairy tales coming out. I really like it. So she's a 2-drop, 6/6, really good stats. She has 2 awakening abilities. The first one is when this card enters your field, search your main deck for up to X cards named Magic Matchstick, reveal them and put them in your hand, then shuffle your main deck. So, and it's Awakening of Pay X. And her second one is also Pay X, and when this card enters your field, put X target cards named Magic Matchstick from your graveyard into your hand. So every single time you play one of her, you can kind of recur all of your Magic Matchsticks. And you can discard a card named Magic Matchstick to deal 400 damage to target J/Resonator. That's pretty good considering the fact that if you have 4 of these in your deck, you can keep recurring those Magic Matchsticks over and over and over again and have burns. So like I said, you know, and she doesn't have to tap for that, so like she can just kind of then start swinging in. So blue, you know, you don't really necessarily need to run red for her, because again, her Awakening is free, any color, and she's a fairy tale, so Grim can play her with any color. But I think you'll want to when you see kind of how cool Magic Matchstick is. So it is a 1-drop edition Resonator, and added Resonator gains Swiftness and First Strike. That's really good for just a 1-drop. And you can banish this card to deal 200 damage to target J/Resonator. So, you know, you're swinging in, you play it, you swing in, your opponent's about to try to kill your creature, so you say, okay, cool, 200 more damage to it. Sweet. Or, you know, or you dealt the damage, sort of like you crash it into something, do this first strike damage, not quite enough to kill it, the guy's not going to kill you per se, and then you just go, okay, cool, I'll banish my Matchstick and finish you off. Or, you know, in the case of when you have Little Match Girl, you just discard it from your hand and burn something too. So like if you had 2, like you put Swiftness and First Strike on something, you swing into something, you use the second Magic Matchstick that you have in your hand to burn that creature, and then you get the First Strike. So there's lots of different unique things that you can do with that for, you know, doing some spot removal. That is everything for today at the new Fairy Tales. Let me know what you think about this stuff, what variant of Grim you would put these cards in. And like, comment, and subscribe as always. And until next time, this is TMO73 signing off.